What's up, everybody? It's AJ with eTrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Yakima BedRock. There's going to be a truck bed rack here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. With the BedRock system installed, there's plenty of other accessories you can get with it. We got the Yakima DeepSpace 10 right here. This is going to be a box that fits up on those rails. It mounts to the rails, and you can carry a bunch of cargo there up and above your bed. You can see underneath how much more room there is for the other cargo. And then over here we have the snowboard and ski carrier, so they fit right in there, also attached to the BedRock rails. And it's just kind of nice to have all this gear in one place. You have this on this section, the covered up stuff over there on the other side, and still room for more stuff in the bed. The BedRock truck bed system is pretty cool. It clamps right here on the top rails of your truck bed, so that way, one, it's easier for me to load stuff up here on the back of the truck. You can also still use your truck bed for storage. You can see we have totes and a cooler in here. Then you can add two stuff on top. You can carry another bike, a cargo basket, or a box here. You can really maximize your bed space by doing it here and then putting some stuff on top. That's just gonna make more leg room for everybody in there, which makes everybody happier on your trips. These are the HD bars from Yakima. So they're gonna be a black powder coat aluminum. You also have the strip here in the center that you can peel back. You might have to remove the end to peel that back, but you can also use the T-track for other accessories that would slide along that track and go in there. But it also works just fine with clamp-on accessories that'll go around the bar itself and attach that way. Both of those work well. You have the end cap here that has a screw at the bottom. This is going to be an attachment point too, so you can run like rope through this to tie stuff down to help you get your cargo tied down nice and tight. Looking at the base here underneath the rail, this is what sits on the top of the rail of your truck bed. And it's on there right now. I've gotten tightened down, but you have the rubberized bottom here so that it's not going to be plastic on plastic, so you don't have to worry about scratching or scuffing anything. It's protected. It's made to fit the bed rail. You see how nicely it sits up on there. Then we have our latch here at the bottom. We screwed this in, which brings this bolt up to the top that pushes against the bottom of the rail. And then this latch is what gets more tension on there, pushes it up, and holds it in place like that. You can see I can shake the whole thing back and forth. It's not going anywhere. Also has a built-in lock in there, so that's good. So you can lock this up. Nobody can mess with this or take it off when you're not around. It's gonna be about 19 inches of space there, so just keep that in mind when you're sliding your cargo in underneath the rails. And also think about if you do have an accessory that has clamps, that might stick out a little bit more, so that measurement might be different. You might have to clear that, but I mean, still, that's plenty of space, even with a clamp. Like none of these totes would hit that, clearly. Even our tall one here would be fine. So there's gonna be plenty of space for all your stuff. Another thing to think about would be how much it adds to your bed rails. So just measure it right there to there, about 3 inches. So again, that doesn't add a whole lot. It's already low profile because it's not on the roof, it's down here. So that just adds a little bit on there and should be just fine for your accessories. Next thing I'm talking about is the install. Really isn't much to it. It was pretty easy to get it done. Check out how we did it. So first thing we're gonna do is I got the bar upside down on our tailgate. I'm gonna come here, right here by the end to loosen up this end cap. Gonna remove this screw. With that done, I can just flip it over. The screw's gonna pop out of there, and now we can remove the end cap. Doing that, so we have access to our track here at the bottom, because that's what the base is going to slide into. So you see this portion here, make sure it's loose enough. This is how you loosen it, is that screw there. So do that so there's enough to get that gap so you can slide it in. So make sure you do the rubberized part facing the inside, because this is what's going to be against the rails of our bed. So I'll slide that on. I already did that with one on the other side, and then we'll replace our end cap by doing the same thing. Make sure you push it in enough so that hole lines up with the screw, and we'll put that back in. Now with that tightened up, we leave this loose because we're going to need to adjust this when we go to set this on the rails. We left the bases loose so we can get that kind of even on both sides. So setting in place for where we want our accessory needed a specific spacing between the bars, and it's about here. And the other thing to look out for in your Gladiator is when you're adding these clamps on here, if you look on the inside of the bed, it sticks out a little bit right here where this light is. So you want to make sure you get close to that but not too close, because when you go to throw that latch, you don't want it making contact with that light. So it seems like right about here is going to be good for us. So I'm going to look on side to side and get that even. So I'm going to go walk back and forth. Bring it back a little bit more. Get it straight as we can. You can also flip it over and look, there's measurements on the bottom. So you can see about where our tower is resting. So it looks like there's a few notches from 59 on this side. So go to that side and match that up so I know that it's right. It's about right there. It's going to be where we want it. And then I'll look at the side to side to make sure that's even. And then we'll flip it around and tighten it down. And go to the other side and do that too. Then we're going to flip the bars around. Okay, so just flip this around now. Get it about where we wanted it. So then looking at the clamp, I'm just going to loosen this bolt so it goes all the way towards the bottom here, because we're going to need that to clear our lip on our bed rail. So this is that up here. I would go ahead and go before you go to attach your thing, feel up there, make sure there's no notches or plastic pieces getting in the way, because what's going to happen is we're going to tighten this down, and how we do that is turning this bolt. You see how it rises up? It'll have this foot on there, so this will rise up and push against the bottom of the bed, which is going to apply that pressure. And if there's like a notch there in the way, that's not good. It's not going to get a good hold. So I've already went ahead and felt under here. We're good. There's not going to be anything in the way. The notch is like a little bit further down, so we have to move the bars over here. So what I'm going to do is you can kind of hook this top part in first in our base rail. So it sits there. I'm going to put our foot right there on top of that bolt. I'm going to hold it as I use my hand to tighten up the bolt so it rises up and push against the bed. But once it gets up underneath that lip, it's going to hold itself there. And lift up this handle too to make sure it gets a good hold. Now back it off. It's a little bit, I might over tighten it, because you want a little bit of pressure when you're bringing this handle down, but you don't want to be really hard to do that. So just make sure, just like that. See, that's too loose, so we need to tighten down just a little bit more. I'll give it a couple more turns until I start to get a little bit of resistance. Then I can bring this down and it's in place. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now that's installed, I'll do the old shake test. I can shake the whole Gladiator back and forth. There's no rattling or movement here at the base where it's connected, so I know it's going to stay on there when it's going down the road. Overall, I really like the BedRock system. It is, at first I was unsure of putting it over the bed and wasting bed space, but as you can see, you can still put totes and stuff or whatever you need in your bed and then stack stuff on top of that on the bars. That's kind of cool. I like how that works. Plus, they're really easy to install. You saw how easy that was just to clamp them on, so if you want to take them off and have full bed access, you can totally do that. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope this helped.